What is my favorite Pokemon series? The answer may surprise you. Hey everyone, Templar74 here with another episode of Poke Talk, and today's episode of Poke Talk will be a discussion about what, in my opinion, is the best Pokemon TV series. Now, I'm sure you all may think you know the answer, but I'll be honest with you guys, after giving it some thought and rewatching a few of the older series, I felt it was necessary to revitalize my list, and I figured what better way to do that than to share it all with you in a video. Now this video will be like a top list video format with where I rank the lowest and least favorite first and my favorite series last. So with that in mind and without further ado, let's get started, and please remember to keep in mind these are all in my own opinion. Number 7, Pokemon Black and White. Now, I'm pretty sure that this comes as no surprise to you guys that Pokemon Black and White is like my least favorite of the Pokemon anime series, which really hasn't changed even rewatching it, because I figured, well, when I watched it the first time, it was in the dub, maybe the sub would be a little bit better, and well, I was proven wrong on that, although it was a little bit of an improvement, the sub over the dub, but wasn't enough to change my opinion. No, not really. Although, I will admit, Team Rocket was at their absolute best in this series. They were even surprisingly better than the original generation. Number 6, Pokemon Advanced Generation. Now, Pokemon Advanced, this was a big change since a rewatch of the series, I'm not going to lie to you. After rewatching it, it made me realize that Pokemon Advance was essentially the first victim of cut and paste syndrome with the anime. There were times where I felt that the traveling party felt forced, their interactions felt forced, with the exception of Ash and Brock, of course. And also, I think it says something when you actually have to turn and say that the movies of said generation far outdid the actual anime. Pokemon Advance, the movies were far better than the anime, in my opinion. With the movies, I have yet to have another Pokemon generation where every single movie on that generation was able to make it into a top 10 list of favorite Pokemon movies of all time. Every single Pokemon Advance movie is in my personal top 10 list. So, like I said before, it kind of says something when you have to go through and say that the movies were better than the anime for this generation. Number 5, Pokemon Sun and Moon. Again, another big change as it managed to bump the Advanced Generation Pokemon anime. I'm still not a fan of the school concept. I have said it before, I've said it again, and I will say it here. Still not a fan of the school concept. I really wish they would have dropped it and not used it. But you cannot deny that the Pokemon Sun and Moon, the animations in this series are first rate. I mean, the battle animations, not the character designs, but the battle animations and the character design, or the character animations rather, not the designs, are first rate. I mean, there are times where you can go through, and even on the worst Sun and Moon episode, you can say that it was still good because the animation was so good. And that's also another first for a series where you can say that the animation is able to hold every single episode, even like the really bad and dull episodes, in my opinion. And then also with Sun and Moon, another big thing they do is they really pay more attention to the music they pick. They really go back through all the Pokemon generations and they pick the music that is most appropriate for the moment there. They use really good game soundtracks from time to time, but they don't just focus on the game soundtracks. I mean, the Planetarium episode, we had almost all the music selections were from the Arceus movie. We had the sled jump tournament where most of the music came from Gen 6, the Kalos region. We had the Kalos region theme. We had people have debated with me on this, and I have rewatched that episode, and I don't hear it, but people are saying they could have swore they heard a bit of Zygarde's theme there. I personally did not hear that when I went through and rewatched it, but again, people are saying that, so by all means, if you think you heard it and my hearing just sucks, so be it. But anyway, back to my point though, music is really put more emphasis on in this series, and this is also the first series to put more emphasis on the Pokemon and the Pokemon's development over the humans of the show. Now, we could sit here and debate all day whether that's a good thing or whether that's a bad thing, but I think when you have a series when it's called Pokemon, you have to focus on the Pokemon. I mean, there's no getting around that. You have to focus on the Pokemon and the development because that's what the series is about. And so far, Sun and Moon is the first anime where we're actually seeing emphasis put on that. So again, you got to give Sun and Moon credit for that too. And then also in Sun and Moon, this is another first because I went back through and I double checked. And one of these I know for sure is true because it's a Gen 7 exclusive. But this is the first series where Ash is held and cared for a legendary, an Ultra Beast, and an exclusive. Now, we've had exclusives before, Ash Greninja being the most popular one ever and my personal favorite from XY, but Ash has an exclusive here with Lycanroc. He's also got an Ultra Beast, and he had Solgaleo there for a while, and people are speculating that Solgaleo will probably return here for too long because in the Ula Ula Island arc, we got introduced to Lord Light, which of course is Necrozma, so we will probably end up seeing Solgaleo here again before too long. And again, Sun and Moon was a first with that, to give Ash a legendary, albeit for a short time, an Ultra Beast, and an exclusive. I mean, that's an impressive feat that only Pokemon Sun and Moon to this day can claim. Number 4, Pokemon Original Series, Kanto, Orange Islands, and Johto. The original trio in the original series and the first introduction to Pokemon. Now, of course, being the first generation and the first Pokemon anime, you're obviously going to have kinks and bumps along the way, but they really were able with the original series to go back through, correct, and learn from their mistakes, and the anime got progressively better the further along we went in the original generation. And also, the original generation, to this day, holds the distinction, for me anyway, of being the first and only series finale where I cried. I mean, I'll be honest with you guys, when X, Y, and Z ended, I was fangirling because, of course, that little moment there with Ash and Serena. And the other series, I was like, oh, thank gosh, this is finally over. And with Black and White, I was dancing up and down like, really, finally, thank goodness this is over. I can dance on its grave. But no, the first series was the first time with the series finale that I literally cried. And that, to this day, has not changed. So, yeah, Pokemon Original Series, have to give them that. Number 3, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. Now, Diamond and Pearl, this one comes up in a lot of debates on whether it was the best anime or not. I'm not in that camp, clearly, because Diamond and Pearl only takes the number 3 spot for me, but it still does hold the bronze, which is a really remarkable feat for any Pokemon anime to hold the bronze for anything. But anyway, that whole point aside, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, to this day, still to this day, has had the best league in the series history. It was the first league where we not only used the Pokemon that Ash caught in this region, but we used all of them. Diamond and Pearl had some of the best rivals in the series. Paul is undebatably one of Ash's strongest, and I don't know whether you can call a jerk like him the best, but he was definitely for lack of better phrasing, the best rival, and there are a lot of people to this day that still will not debate that with you. And then, of course, he may not have been the most mature Ash of this franchise, but the Pokemon Diamond and Pearl Ash was at the perfect level for maturity for this show. And of course, we had Ash's friendship with Dawn, and of course, the man Brock, who made the show. You can't have a good series without Brock. I mean, what can I say? The original bromance was there one final time, and this was the final series where we actually saw the bromance between Ash and Brock on a traveling adventure. So yeah, Diamond and Pearl also holds that. So kudos to Diamond and Pearl for taking the bronze spot. Okay, number 2, holding silver is Pokemon XY and XY and Z. Included within this, the Pokemon Mega Evolution Specials. Again, another big change as Pokemon XY and XY and Z was bumped from the gold to the silver. There were multiple reasons for why Pokemon XY and XY and Z was so good. We had the best Pokegirl, arguably, in the anime's history with Serena. probably the most developed and most uniquely developed character in the Pokemon anime. We, of course, had the Amore shipping aspect, which is actually the Amore shipping aspect. Now, I know shipping is not the focus of Pokemon, but it's interesting in that this is the first and only time ever within Pokemon that a canonical relationship, which was confirmed after X, Y, and Z was over, by the way, that a canonical relationship actually played a role not only in the lead female's development, but Ash's development too. I mean, there's almost no arguing even to this day that a lot of Ash's development and a lot of Ash's feats in XY and XY and Z came from Serena, at least in some aspect. And then, of course, Serena here, she didn't have a goal till she started traveling with Ash, which, I mean, that's not unique because May's done that before too. But Serena's journey only began because of her relationship with Ash in the first place. And it was Ash that continually pushed Serena to do better. In fact, there were times where in the past series, Ash would step in and try to help. But in XY and XY and Z, he would step back and say, no, Serena's strong. I believe in her. She can do this on her own. And again, that was something else very unique. So yeah, we got that. XY and XY and Z, arguably the most mature anime series that they've done for Pokemon ever. We had Ash Greninja, again, the most popular exclusive ever in the history of the Pokemon anime. One of my personal favorites anyway. We had the boy Zygarde here. Zygarde's my favorite legendary, the most complex legendary we've ever had. And Zygarde is one of those very few legendaries that actually had so much emphasis put on him in the anime. In fact, Zygarde was X, Y, and Z. X, Y, and Z was completely wrapped around Zygarde. So, again, that was another big first. And, of course, Zygarde being my favorite legendary, I enjoyed watching him destroy Lysandre. But anyway, Zygarde. And then, of course, and I've touched on this a little bit before, development. The traveling party within XY and XY and Z was arguably the most developed since the series ended. Of course, we had Ash coming in second in the Kalos League, going all the way with Ash Greninja, mastering that power. Serena was runner-up for her goal of becoming the Kalos Queen. Clement got kicked out of his own gym at the beginning of the series, and he was able to make a triumphant return to the gym along with Klimbot and run it and actually have a gym that trainers actually want to go to. And Clement proved himself as a really good gym leader and a really good adapter. And then, of course, we had Bonnie, who, when the series started, there was next to no expectations for her development at all. And then, of course, as the series went on, and especially in X, Y, and Z with Zygarde, a lot of interesting possibilities were opened for Bonnie. And, of course, she was arguably the most developed child within Pokemon. Because, again, like I said, the expectations for her were so low that when they exceeded them, they went far and above what any of us thought was going to be possible. So, again, hard to argue that this is not the most developed traveling party that we had come series end. Okay, number one, the new gold. And this one's going to be a shock for a lot of you guys. Pokemon Generations and Pokemon Origins. Now, again, another big change, and really the reason why this one bumped is this is what an older Pokemon series should be. It focuses more on the lore, the real crimes of Team Rocket, focuses on all this stuff. It goes deep, but it's still somewhat child-friendly. So, you got the mature aspect covered, and then you've got, of course, the still child-friendly aspect of Pokemon. And when this came out, and I actually saw several people, but the most infamous one for commenting on this is Loxton. And he hit it dead on when he talked about Pokemon Generations, where he said that if they could figure out how to lengthen these out to 20-minute episodes and make it a, quote, mature spin-off Pokemon anime, it would do phenomenal. I think he was spot on. I think that if they were ever to do a side series like this ever again, like its own spin-off anime, and handle it in the Pokemon Generations format, it would do phenomenal. Especially considering now that you look, most of the Pokemon fandom, again, not all the fandom, but most of the fandom are the people that have been here since Gen 1. I mean, with Pokemon Go, a lot of Gen 1ers came back, but it's undeniable that Pokemon, its target age is for 10-year-olds. Well, the average for age of Pokemon viewers is anywhere from 14 to 19 years old. So, yeah, you kind of got to work on that. Pokemon's a phenomenon and an enigma in that sense, just from that alone. But anyway, before I ramble on too much longer, back to Pokemon Generations, Pokemon Origins. Again, another big reason that I liked this series, again, overall, was it focused more on the game lore than any of the other series. Now, Pokemon is really known for having great stories in the game and then almost exclusively never uses them because it's seen as too dark for the anime world, or they just simply don't want to run with it. And I understand they're telling a story and they've got a time frame that they lock themselves into pretty much every 3 years, but still, there was a lot of lore in every single generation that could have been hit on and wasn't. And yet Pokemon Generations and Pokemon Origins comes along, hits on this lore, and it's automatically an instant success. So why they didn't take notes from that, I don't know. But anyway, that whole argument aside, Pokemon Generations, Pokemon Origins takes the gold as my favorite Pokemon series, or Pokemon TV series rather, overall. And there we have it, everyone. My updated thoughts on what was the best Pokemon TV series. It truly is amazing what rewatching a series can do, isn't it? Now, like I said before, all these thoughts were in my own opinion, and I've said it before and I'll say it again here. A perfect series, quote-unquote perfect series, doesn't exist. And if you're looking for a quote-unquote perfect Pokemon anime, good luck finding it. We all have our favorites and least favorites, and thoughts can change, as evident here. But I think one thing we all can agree on, though, is that Pokemon, although it has had its ups and its downs, has been an enjoyable series for the past 20 years. In fact, I can still remember when it first came to the US, I'd get home from school and rush through my homework to watch it. Boy, I'm really dating myself there with that story, but man, I'm old. Anyway, like I said before, it's been an enjoyable series overall for the past 20 years, and I think it's safe to say that for most people, because you talk to anyone on the street, and you'd be hard-pressed to find someone that hasn't at least heard of it. Heck, recently, it's now outgrown Star Wars. But anyway, enough rambling. Anyway, like I said before, you'd be hard-pressed to find somebody that didn't say it was enjoyable or didn't know about it. But as always, in the comments section down below, let me know what your guys' thoughts are about all this. How do you guys rank your series? For you, do you agree with what I said? Do you not agree with me? Or your rankings just a little bit different? Just let me know what your guys' thoughts are about all this in the comments section down below. Because as always, I enjoy hearing from you. Alright everyone, as always, Templar74 signing off. Have a great day everybody, and I'll talk to you all next time. Goodbye everybody.